What is happening?
Jungle.
All right, welcome for all of you that are just. It is the Friday night episode. You see who I got on tonight. Last time we had the conversation, it was fire, I gotta say. But I want to welcome you to the Encounter Podcast with me. I'm the host, Marcus Stewart. You can find me and follow me on all social media at underscore Minister Marcus. And for the grown folks tonight on the Friday, if you ain't go to the club, if you ain't got your boo thing over, if you ain't got nothing to do, you got kids and you couldn't go out, tonight is the night that you need to be watching me. Now, if you are on Facebook, I need you to know I cannot see immediately your post or your comments. So I need you to be patient with me on Facebook. But eventually, I need you to switch over to YouTube. So if you're watching us on Facebook, I need you to switch over on YouTube. I will put the link in the chat. But I want to let my guest, my host, my guest introduce herself and just, tell us what you do, who you are. Introduce yourself to the audience.
Hello, everybody. I am Dr. Alicia McKenzie. I am a licensed professional counselor, and I am the owner of Purposely Poised Counseling and Consultants. And if you are in search of a therapist that will help you be emotionally safe and mentally at peace, I am currently accepting clients. Thank you so much, Marcus, for inviting me. I'm ready to dive in. Again, I apologize up front if I say something crazy, but all I can give you is my authentic self. And so the answer may be professional and it may not, but we're rolling with it and that's okay. So thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you actually. It's always good for me personally to have a female's perspective. For me, I have the male perspective and I'm going to be completely male, but it's good to have an educated female on to have an educated response
That's
of
fair.
the things that I want to talk about, because I'm going to always be biased to the male response. So I'm going to be stopping periodically just to look. If you are on Facebook, I do encourage you to get on YouTube. I'm going to drop the link in the chat. Just give me a second. I'm doing everything alone. But what is Purposely Poised? What is that? Tell us what that is. I mean, you gave us a little bit, but what does that do? Is that for married people? Is that for singles? Like, who is that for?
So I currently see individuals, I currently see adults, and I currently see teenagers. I will be very transparent. I do not see kids. I served as a school counselor for many, many years. So I do not see anyone younger than 13, only because I've done it for so long. But I'm definitely accepting new clients. I do have a lot of couples that come in. I also have a lot of individuals. We all go through moments, life.
That's right.
Be lifing. And so for some people that's not afraid, I try to provide a safe space for people to really just come in and process their feelings, because even I have my days, and right. I promote it's okay to simply not be okay. And so that's something that I personally live by. So I try to create that space for my clients. So currently right now, my caseload is heavy with couples. But again, I see couples, individuals, and teenagers.
Okay. What is there a distinct difference? So why do you think it's different with couples? If you wouldn't mind me asking, because for me personally, I think it's different with couples because it's hard to be in a relationship. Me personally. So
yeah, it's definitely hard to be in a relationship, but it's not necessarily that it's just hard. It's hard to stay intentional within the relationship. I think that people, just as individuals, you always want to be evolving as an individual.
That's
and
right.
For a lot of the couples that I'm seeing, a lot of them came together when they were early 20, some of them even high school sweethearts, and we grow. The person that you are at 40 is not who you were at 25.
That's
and
right.
So a lot of things change. And I think sometimes as adults, especially in relationships, we're scared of the unknown. And so when we see our partners changing or things of that nature, it makes us tense. It freaks us out. And so that's what makes the relationship even harder. But as
Yeah.
long as we stay intentional, as long as we appreciate that our partner is evolving, things can change. We just have to be open-minded to the change, and then open-minded to understanding what do I need to do differently to accept my partner for who they are at this moment versus who they were
Right.
when we got together.
Right. So look, so that definitely leads into one of the conversations that I do want to have, because when I want to talk about church culture and marriage, and are
You
we really
always do
setting?
this to me.
Yes, because I think on so many occasions we rush people into marriage without
Mhm,
a person understanding, how marriage is supposed to work. And
mhm.
what you're looking for at 20 is different than what you're looking for at
Absolutely.
35 or 40.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
I'm about to be 40, right? And the person that I married in my 20s, I understand why I made the decision, but at the same time, now in my 40s, I wouldn't make the same decision for the same reasons. I would
Right.
make the same decision, but it would be different. So for a person, how old were you when you got married?
Oh my gosh, 27?
Woo! That means y'all have been through, but that's good for a woman. But for a man, the navigations can be very, very, very difficult. So here's the question that I will pose to you. Um, and I choose violence, by the way.
It's
So
okay. I'm ready.
why
It's been a long day.
why
Let's go
is
for it.
it, in your opinion, why is it that so many churches rush to marriage, but the divorce rate in churches is higher than people that are not in church, in your opinion? And let's go.
Wow, here we go. I'm going to be very, very honest. I think, and how do I say this kindly? It doesn't matter. I don't really care tonight.
I mean, yeah.
I think that a lot of people get so caught up in these religious beliefs that it forces them to do things that they're sometimes not that comfortable with.
Okay.
We always be ready to get married, but we're not supposed to be dating to get married. We're supposed to be marrying to date, right?
Okay.
And so I think a lot of people kind of switch that up a bit, and so you don't understand, or in other words, we're not honest with ourselves. And because we have these beliefs, I'm not saying nothing's wrong with church. I grew up in church. Please
That's
don't
right.
come for me. However, I am
They gonna
very,
email me.
yeah, listen, okay. I'm just very realistic. And unfortunately, when we are so engulfed in the religious stuff that we're not processing just real life, I think that's what causes a lot of people to misunderstand what their purpose is when they're trying to become a spouse. The divorce rates are high, one, because no one wants to be honest and say we're having issues. No one
True.
wants to be honest to say when you're having issues, while I am telling you you need to continue to pray as a couple, your
Very true.
pastor might not be the best option to
That-
seek support. And because people be so engulfed in their religion, that's all they know, which is okay. But if you don't allow yourself to open your horizons to say there has to be some additional resources that
that's
we
right.
should be able to seek out, then it's like you don't know any better. And so you keep going to something because that's all you know, not understanding that sometimes that can be detrimental to the relationship as a whole.
So hold on. So then the pastor then, and look, that's why I put that at the bottom, because the pastor then is not the best consultant, because I can guarantee you there are a lot of people. Look, and for the people who know, they know. But when I was married, the person who counseled me and my first wife was the pastor, and some of the things that he said were I should not have been said. Let me say it like that. And so you're saying that the pastor then should not be the main consultant, that you should have
You
a
should have and let me clarify. I'm
side
not
piece.
saying the pastor is not the best choice. Okay. I'm not
Right.
saying that. I'm just saying if you are choosing to seek guidance from your pastor, religious leader, whatever you want to coin them, I
Right.
think
Right.
it will be beneficial to both parties to have an additional person to support. So maybe if you see your pastor on Mondays, maybe you have an additional person that's not connected in that way to maybe seek on Friday, right? Just so
Right.
you can get both perspectives. You get you can stay rooted in your faith with what marriage look like based on your biblical standpoint, but you can also get some theoretical pieces in terms of what makes the marriage work, because
Right.
I know what it needs to look like because I've read my Bible. Right.
That's
I
right.
know
That's
what
right.
my role should be because I read my Bible. I went to Bible study. I sat through the sermon when you did the relationship series. So I get that
Right.
standpoint, but I might need an additional person to give me the theoretical practices in the sense of once you leave that church service,
Right. You
this is
still
what
gotta
it should
you
look
gotta
like.
live with a
You
person.
still have to live with this person.
That's
It's
right.
okay if your spouse likes to go and have a drink and go bowling, go drink and go bowling. It
Right.
doesn't have to stay connected to we only do things that's involved with the church, because believe it or not, that's why a lot of couples fall apart too, because
Right.
we're not connected in our social lives.
I
and
agree with that.
and I think that, so even with me, I've had couples that has been the issue until they was able to get both sides, and they was able to get two different perspectives. It made things a little bit clearer for them. So I'm not saying the
Yeah.
pastor is horrible. I'm just saying, kind of think about that. Like, if your marriage is already falling apart, truth be told, your pastor's not going to tell you to divorce.
I mean, you know what? I gotta say this. So for me, I wouldn't encourage divorce, but I would definitely say if I see that two people, that's why
Right.
one of the things I stopped doing was marriage counseling, because everybody want to get married, but the conversations that I'm gonna have before you get married are not
Mhm.
the kind of conversations that people want to
Want
have.
to have.
And so,
Yeah.
most people they start going to other people. They don't do the complete counseling with me because I'm trying. And then thing is me myself trying to be in a relationship, and I'm considering marriage, and I do have a person to go to marriage counseling. Most definitely the pastor
Mhm.
would not address certain issues. And so here's
Right.
here's another question with you.
Right.
So then does that mean that the pastor is not the best is not the best person to be talking to when you're about to consider marriage, in your opinion?
Again, I'm not saying the pastor is not the best person. I'm just saying, if you want to start off your foundation of marriage healthy, then I think you should be open to getting two perspectives.
I agree with that.
One that allows you to be rooted in your faith, but one that also allows you to see the perspective of, at the end of the day, I still have to be a spouse within the social aspects of my spouse, if that
That's
makes
right.
sense.
That's right.
And
That's right. And we're
it
not gonna
doesn't
be going to
matter
church
how.
every day of the week.
Right. Like, I need to still be able to enjoy my spouse
That's right.
outside of the church events. And
That's right.
I think that's what becomes detrimental to a lot of couples, because we are so heavy. We so heavy. I'm gonna be very honest. I always say that's why a lot of people don't go to church. A lot of
Woo!
Christian folks are real heavy in the word and all of these things. And we need that to survive. Yes.
I feel like it's
However,
a butt coming. I feel like it's a butt.
it's a however. However, I have to be realistic. Sometimes when we're going through things, while we know that the word is what we need, sometimes you just want to hear something different. And so that's the same with in relationships. So we have to be open to having two different perspectives to really make it work. And in order to do that, we have to be intentional on our efforts in making it work.
Yo, that takes me somewhere different because you know, most women go to church, but most men don't go to church.
Mhm.
And the women that do go to church, they are being fed something in their mentals that the men are not being fed. And so, in your opinion, because I do have a follow-up question with that, but
Okay.
in your opinion, do you feel like that is the reason that so many relationships are breaking down, because the men don't go to church? And well, let me ask it different, because what I'm really trying to get at is the reason that men don't go to church and women do go to church, and does that how much of an effect does that have in the home relationship? You get what I'm saying?
I get
Like,
what
for
you're
the woman to
saying.
go to church, and for the most men that I know, they go to church, and they have their reasons that are very good reasons, and
Mhm,
women go to
mhm,
church for different reasons. But
mhm.
how much do you think that affects the home dynamic, or the relationship dynamic. If you get what I'm trying to start.
Truthfully, I don't think that is what impacts it. And let me tell you why. Because
Okay,
there are a lot of people who don't go to church, but can pray for you and pray with you.
that's right.
There's a lot of people that don't go to church that will love you through your mess regardless. There's
True.
a lot of people that don't go to church that is more kind and loving and have more compassion than people that are hugging you in church.
So are
So
you saying that that's the breakdown? Like that's why the church is like not. That's why the church is like not getting the response that we need to get, or that's not the option, or you get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. I honestly don't know. That's a question that I've kind of pondered with myself. I personally go to church, right?
Right, right, right.
But I also know people that go to church that's extremely cruel to other people,
I agree with that.
and they come every week during the work week to talk about church, but
I
you are so mean. So like
I
what are
agree.
you getting fed if you just went to church yesterday and you come here with all of this hatred and animosity in your heart? And so
And
that's why I'm saying
pride.
I
Yep.
don't think that's what breaks down relationships, right? Because just because I go to church, would it be nice if we can go together? I think every couple wants to go to church with their spouse and their family.
Yeah.
But then I think it's a deeper issue. If you are going to church and your spouse is not going, that's a conversation. My first question will be not necessarily is that what's breaking it down. My question will be, have you talked to your spouse to figure out why? Is
Yeah.
it that your spouse just don't like that church? Is it that
Yeah.
your spouse don't like that pastor?
Yeah.
And so if we have the conversation, you may realize it's not that he or she doesn't want to go with you. They don't want to go there. So now are you open, I'm sorry, to exploring other church services,
You're right.
other
Right. Right. Right.
locations, so that your spouse can be comfortable enough to go with you?
Yeah. So I like I'm a man. So most of the time the men are going because the woman is saying we need to go to this church. But then when the dude go to that church, then he like, bro, something ain't off, something ain't right
Mhm.
about this, something is
Mhm.
off. And then the woman is so connected to the church that she's gonna continue to go there, but the man is automatically turned off to that. And then I agree with you. Then I think it's a probe there as a conversation to
Mhm.
why don't you want to go here and what vibe are you getting, and then
Mhm.
to be open enough to say is this valid or is this not as the woman, if you want your man to go to church with you, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the reason why I asked the question is because you know you cannot deny the statistic, and the statistic is there
Mhm.
are more churches pushing for people to get married, but more people in the church are getting divorced than in the
Mhm.
world. I
Yeah.
was look now. I'm not real versed in the worldly stuff or the rap hip hop stuff. I'm just not. That's just not my thing. I be watching apologetic videos on YouTube, but I do know that Cardi B, who is a hot rapper, and she got bars, and whoever she with, he got bars. They still together, and he cheated on her, and they are still together. And there are many marriages in the Christian faith that are not together. And I'm trying to understand what is the Christian faith missing that we supposed to be the example, but we are actually like we like setting a bad example because we all get divorced. What is the divide in I mean, I asked the question, but
Mhm.
that's what I was getting at.
Um, I don't know. I don't know if it's that people don't go in. I mean, marriage is not easy, right?
Right.
But you have to go in saying, I'm not giving up on my person. And I think
Okay.
we
That's
give up on
good.
each
That's
other
good.
because,
That's good.
again, we don't want to have the necessary conversations. We go back to the church. If your spouse told you, I don't get a good vibe here, why would you continue going to that church?
Because some women are
Why
just
wouldn't you?
so
But then that's the
this is my
problem.
pastor.
Why wouldn't you be emotionally mature enough to say, my spouse doesn't like it here? This is where our disconnect lies. So let me figure out where he wants his family to be.
Oh,
Which goes back to, this is why you have to have two perspectives, because you can't be rooted in your faith, because your faith tells you the man is supposed to lead. Well, this man is telling you he don't want to be at the church. So why are you leading him back to the place he doesn't want to be at? And so I think that's where the disconnect is coming from.
You
People,
know what? I hate it so much because I want to disagree, but I agree with
it's
you.
okay if you disagree. I mean,
But
but that's the reality. So I don't think it has anything to do with the church per se. I do still stand firm on you should have two perspectives. If you want to go to your pastor, baby, go to your pastor. But have a different person to give you another perspective,
that's right.
theoretically, on what marriage looks like and how we make this work. Because you still have to keep in mind, it doesn't matter how long you've dated, how long you've been together. We still have two different lived experiences
That's
that's
right.
coming together
Before
into
you, that's
one
right.
home. We
That's right.
both probably grew up in the church. But if I'm coming from a two-parent home,
Right.
you're coming from a broken home, it doesn't matter that we both grew up in the church. We still coming with different perspectives of marriage,
I must
right?
agree. I must
So I
agree.
think that you should have the two perspectives, but we can't be so rooted in faith that then we pick and choose what we want to follow. I think that is the issue. People pick and choose what part of the Bible they want to hold firm to and what parts is like up in the air.
I gotta say, I agree with you. Look. If you are on YouTube, stay on YouTube. I'm gonna put the link in the chat for you to come on live. There's gonna be a question and answer segment. If you are on Facebook, if you are on Instagram, go ahead and switch over to YouTube. You will be on our natural live, and I'm gonna put in the comments. I can see your comments on YouTube. So if you have comments, I won't see them on Facebook. I will only see them on YouTube. So I encourage you to switch over on YouTube. If you want to come on live, if you want to ask questions, if you want to leave your comment, I will be able to see all of those on our YouTube, on my YouTube channel. So just come over to YouTube. But get back to the conversation with what you said. I gotta say this, that I agree. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I definitely agree. I think that a lot of times people put so much emphasis on they pastor or they bishop or whatever you call your leader, when the Bible clearly says leave and cleave to your wife, leave and cleave to your husband, leave and cleave
Right.
to your person.
Right.
And if your person is giving you the wrong type of vibe, you should definitely consider that person. You should consider your person. So that's, I mean, I think, man, I must agree with you. I hate to agree with you, but I agree with you. I agree with you
It's okay.
100%. Yeah, I agree with you, man. Like it's difficult because most dudes. Okay, in your opinion, does your husband go to church?
Yes.
Okay. Um, if your husband didn't go to church, what would the conversation be if you wanted to get him to go to church?
I think I'll start by asking the why. Like what is preventing you from wanting to be in that space? And then depending on his answer would dictate, what I do next. Does that mean I'm just going to wholeheartedly just cold turkey just not go? No, but I am going to consider his feelings because it may be something there that I need to be mindful of, right?
Right,
Does
right,
this
right, right.
mean that temporarily, we do online? I don't know, but
Right, right.
until we have the conversation, I won't know how to support. But the worst thing you can do is not allow your spouse to feel supported in whatever decision they make, whether it's
Right,
good, bad, or indifferent, right?
right,
I should
right,
be able
right.
to support you, and then later, after support, while supporting, be like, okay, but we should have did XYZ, right? But I
Right.
can't even do that if I don't at least try to have the conversation in terms of the why. I don't think that's a deal breaker. That shouldn't be a deal breaker for a relationship. It should be a deal breaker if you make the choice to still do your own thing, but stay mad that he or she not going with you. Well, you can't be
Right.
mad if there wasn't a conversation to figure out why, or
I
to
agree.
see if
Look,
maybe
I
you
agree.
need to adjust some things. Maybe you're the problem.
Hold on,
Maybe
hold on, hold on. Let's
you
rewind. You
when
said you said you said that you need to do what? What is that? What was that? Adjust some things?
you need to readjust, right?
Woo,
Because we
that's
talk
heavy.
about people who are not the nicest. They go to church every
That's
Sunday, right? So then maybe sometimes that might require a reflection where maybe you say, am I the problem? Right? Am I going to church every Sunday, but then I'm bringing negative energy back into my home? Is that why my spouse don't want to go?
Hey.
Because we be so quick to look at outside factors, but sometimes we're the problem, right?
Yeah, I must say,
But without the conversation, you won't know. You'll just be mad that your spouse not going with you.
I hate to agree with that, but I definitely agree. I do agree. I do agree. I do. And this is, I'm just saying, from your perspective, I like that you are pro relationship, like not necessarily, because I've had a couple of people on and some of those episodes didn't air, and I've had conversations which I didn't air because I disagree with the whole perspective and premise of, if it don't serve me, I don't want to be a part of it. And
Mm-hmm.
if your dude is obviously telling you this is something that he's not comfortable with, you should make that decision on your own to just continue going whichever way you want to go. Just like your man, as a good man, is supposed to consider your opinion. You, as a woman, are supposed to consider your man's opinion. So it's supposed to be a tag team. So if it's a place that he does not agree with, you're supposed to submit. And then if it's a place that you don't agree with, he's supposed to submit and listen and hear. You get what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Man, I feel it. I feel you
Exactly.
100%. And I like that you are pro relationship. To You have a husband, so ultimately you are submitting to your husband. At the same time, you can express your voice, you can say
Mm-hmm.
what you feel, you can express what you think. And that's why I
Exactly.
give big shout out to your husband, because that's a good man. Your woman is supposed to feel open enough and comfortable enough to express herself when she's with you. She's supposed to tell you how she feels and what she's thinking. And say that knowing he may agree, he may disagree, but you're open enough and free enough to express that. I got you. Here's another thing. And look,
Mm-hmm.
I got a million of them. Here's another thing, because I'm watching the time too. But look, check this out.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
hear a lot of marriages in the church. So I'm watching this video the other day. I ain't gonna tell you this preacher name. I enjoy the preacher. Some of the stuff I be like, I'm finna turn this one off
Mm-hmm.
because he going somewhere I don't agree with. But
Mm-hmm.
he's talking about this sex thing that is acceptable in the Christian faith, and things that are unacceptable in the Christian faith when it comes to sex. Now, this is what I believe. I believe this: a man is a man before he meet Jesus. A man is a man before you go to church. He gonna have certain desires. I think that the bed is undefiled, like the Bible teaches.
Yeah.
Now, this is the question. The question is, what in
Um,
it? Well, first, let me say this: is there a divide when it comes to Christian women and women who are not of the faith? Does that have to do with like the whole sexual dynamic? You get what I'm saying?
I don't think it should. You're still a woman. Should it matter whether you?
Some people will say it do.
Oh, really? Well, no, I don't think so. I think you're still a woman. Does it mean that you would probably do things differently just based on your spiritual walk? Yes. But what does your spiritual walk have to do with you being a woman?
I,
I think that's what I'm asking. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I'm supposed to give a profound
no,
answer
you're
to your
supposed to give a
question.
straightforward answer. You're
Oh,
supposed to give a you're supposed to give
because I don't
honest,
see
genuine,
how
straight.
that would. I don't see how that impacts it. I don't. It
Man,
impacts
look,
how you
this
show up, but I don't think it should take away from the fact that you are still a woman.
this pastor online. Now, I encourage all people. If you are married, you need to please your husband. If you are a husband, you need to please your wife. You need to make sure that your person is pleased. These are
Mhm,
conversations that you need to have
mhm.
before you get married. And the
Right.
reason why I'm talking about marriage is because you've been married. How long have you been married?
15? It's going to be 15 years?
15 years. You've been married 15 years. And in being married 15 years to the same person, you need to be able to please your person. And whatever these people are saying online, and this is my thing, it frustrates me because when I see the divorce rates in the
Mhm,
church going up,
mhm.
and I see people are staying married who are not in church,
Yeah.
it's a frustration because somewhere we missing it as the church people. So I'm pro church, but I am
Mhm. Mhm.
against some of the things that are detrimental to our understanding as it
Exactly.
relates to relationships. You get what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah, in my opinion, I think you need to please your husband. I think you need to please your wife. I think
Mhm.
that your world needs to revolve and surround around the person that you have committed your life to. You get what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
You agree?
I agree, which goes back to why if you are choosing to seek your pastor for marriage support, marital support, then you need to be open to have a different perspective, right? Because now I don't know what pastor you heard, right? But think
I ain't gonna
about
say
how
his name
many couples he may have told that to.
a lot because he famous.
I
He
mean, you
not
get what I'm saying?
he famous. Yeah, yeah.
So if that's who you see as the person to truly guide this relationship, and that's what he has shared with you, and you didn't have a different perspective to connect it. I'm not saying his value, his mindset is wrong. I'm just saying if
Right.
you didn't have a different person to make a connection in terms of how you can still hold true to that, but still do XYZ, then I will be concerned in terms of what those relationships look like.
I agree with you. Here's another question. We're gonna take a left turn. I'm going somewhere else. But what do you think? So I want to talk to a couple like right now. I don't want to get personal, but I want to speak to a couple who is thinking about getting married, hasn't been married or have been married, and they are thinking about marriage. What is something that you wish that you would have known, or what is something that you wish you would have known, or that you need to know before you get married that you wasn't even thinking about when you got married? You get what I'm saying?
Mm, mm. Um, that I wasn't thinking about. I guess I would say, no, that's a good question. Thank you for that. I would definitely say that as a couple, I would tell a new couple going in, be mindful that the two of you, that you should feed off each other energy wise. And what I mean by that is women feed off the energy of their men, but
Uh-huh.
men feed off the energy of their spouse, significant other, right? Women of all whatever need to feel emotionally safe. Um,
Okay.
Once we feel emotionally safe, we freely give. But I don't think a lot of women are taught that while you are needing him to allow you to be emotionally safe, you have to allow him to be emotionally safe as well.
Oh,
So while we feed off the energy of men, right? Because he's the
that's right.
lead, right? So we have to go in saying, however you enter the house, that's what you're going, right? That's what you
That's
get.
right. That's
But
right.
then but then women need to be mindful. You have to check that as well. Because if you are supposed to be his piece, then you can't come in with rah rah. And I'm gonna be honest, there are moments where I'm like,
Right.
and even
Right.
I've had to kind of check myself. Like the older I get, like that's not how I want anybody to come at me. So I
Yeah.
need to be mindful. What happened at work stayed at work.
That's right.
I don't need to bring that here. And if I want his energy to allow me to be emotionally safe and mentally at peace, I need to be the same thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't learn that.
I gotta say this. I think for men it's the same. In that regard, like as a man, we deal with the world, and we feel like
Mhm.
the weight of the world is on our shoulders.
Yeah.
So we wake up in the morning excited because, especially if we got a woman, if we got a child, if we got something to come home to, we going to work with our like we happy. Then if we come home and it's constant nagging. It's like it's one thing to be upset about something legitimate. It's a different thing to nag about something without appreciating that I have just put my whole everything to bring home to us. And when I get home, it's you mad about because I plugged the TV in the top plug and not the bottom plug. As a man, I'm like, I'm checking out. Like, what are we doing here? You know what I'm saying? Like, we get ignited. You're right. We are ignited by, providing for our woman. We
Yeah.
are ignited by doing what we know we need to do as far as the father, as far as the husband.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
if the woman is not returning that, but at the same time, so I say that on one side, but at the same time, if I'm dealing with a boss, if I'm dealing with the coworkers, if I'm dealing with the frustrations of just doing my work, and then
Mhm.
I come home, that don't mean that I come home with an attitude to the people who are in
Mhm.
my space. You get what I'm saying?
Right,
So
right.
it's like, yeah, I agree with you
Yeah,
100%.
but it goes both ways too, right?
I
Because
agree with
then
you.
there
Yeah,
are some situations where it's like, okay, she's pouring, she's, making sure he feels the
right.
best, right? But then he's not returning. So it needs to go both ways. Both parties should feel emotionally safe in that space. I tell couples all the time the worst thing that you can do to a female, because men and women are completely different. Men is
That's
more
right.
physical, women is all feelings, right? So I always
Most
tell,
feelings. Most
especially when I'm
feelings. Yeah.
talking, yeah, especially when I'm talking to my couples, I'm very transparent, and I tell them the worst thing that you can do as a husband is to take away her peace in her home.
That's the. You know what? It's the same thing with a man, though. That's the same thing with a man.
And it is, and I'm not taking that away from men, but what I am saying, if you look at it wholeheartedly, right? A lot of couples do 50-50. We kind of share things. But for the most part, the woman is the one taking care of the kids. She's the one making sure the house is together. She's the one making sure the house clean, so that when you go to work with the world on your shoulders and all
That's
the
right.
things,
That's
you're
right.
able to come in and not have to do the extra. You can just love on your family,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
So
I
her
agree. I can't
home
disagree.
should, while she needs to be your peace, she can't be your peace if you haven't allowed her home to be peaceful for her.
That that's heavy. That's heavy. That's heavy. That's heavy. That's heavy. That's heavy. Okay, okay. I get what you're saying. I'm picking up what you put down.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
and so
got you.
I think it goes for both ways, but I think it goes back to how we started this conversation. I think people are not intentional. Everybody go in with what they want, but we're not understanding of, in order to get what I want, I have to be willing to give my partner what they need.
That's the conversation right there, right? So
Mhm.
I'm tipping on the edge, but that's the conversation. I think the culture has now produced a generation that is saying, if it doesn't work for me, I'm not gonna work for it. When
Yeah,
in actuality, that's not what marriage is.
no.
Marriage is like, you have to show up. And see, this is one of the reasons why. And look, I'm not here to bash nobody,
Yeah.
but in my first relationship, in my first real marriage, we didn't have that mindset. Like you can love a person and the love can be real, but
Mhm.
you don't have the right understanding, and it still mess up because you
Mhm.
think this person is supposed to speak to things that they are not supposed to speak to. You
Yeah.
are already supposed to have certain things in place, and you are already supposed to know, when I come home, this is not my time to let my frustration out on my wife, or this
Yeah.
is not my time to let my frustration out on my husband. This is
Absolutely.
my time to, like, basically, you're engaging the situation at all times,
Mhm.
because your
Mhm.
person may be different than everybody else person. So I get it now.
Yeah.
But to the 22-year-old, they don't get it. To the
Yeah.
25-year-old, they don't get it. And I say to them, it's going to be a lot of work, and in places that you don't
Yeah.
even recognize that you're going to be working in,
Yeah.
and you're working on yourself at the same time.
Yeah.
um, do you think it's better for a person to get married in their 20s, or do you think it's better for a person to get married mid to late 30s?
I don't really think there's an age difference. Do I think that the younger you are, the more challenging it may get? Yes, because if you're marrying somebody in their 20s, my hope would be that's not the same person when they're 35, right?
Exactly why I asked the question.
Yeah, my hope would be they're not the same person at 35, but you can't stop who you love. You can't say, "Oh my gosh, I shouldn't be this loved by this person and I'm only 24." Like
Hold
you
up, hold up, hold up, hold up. So wait. At 24, can't you control who you love? That was like, right. I think you can control who you love. I counsel
I
my
think so.
boys and my girls. Look, be selective with who you choose to give your heart to. Like, you can choose who you love. Sometimes you let a person in that you shouldn't have let in, but no, we not out here free just choosing. Like, right?
And
What do we think
I
about?
agree. I agree with that.
Feel like it's a butt coming.
It's a however. Um, I agree with that. You do have a right to choose. You shouldn't be freely. But then if that's the case, that goes for anybody. Just
That's right.
because you're 50 doesn't mean that because you've never been married, you need to go ahead and jump right in. So when I say
Right,
you
right,
get
right,
to
right.
love who you can't fight who you love, what I'm saying is I don't think that you have to be a certain age for the person who loves you to be sent to you. Some of us
Ah,
have been
I got you. I got
lucky that that person came when we were 12. We just
you.
didn't
Right,
know that this gonna be my husband. It just was the boy across the street that just was nice to me, right?
right, right,
So
right,
that's
right,
what
right.
I mean when I say you should. I don't think it should be an age different. But
Gotcha.
again, I do think the younger we are, the more work we will have. The only thing that I say in terms of age and marriage, I never say you have to be this age to get married, but I do say I think that sometimes we should be mindful of when we want to start our family, depending
Oh,
on
right.
how
Oh,
young we were, right?
good.
I
Right, right,
do
right.
say that because marriage is already hard. And so then to jump right in and we having kids, for some people, it works, kudos. But for people that want to do more of a planning, that would be the only thing I say kind of plan, be strategic about. Like if both of you have had the conversation, both of you know you want a family, but both of you want to do certain things before you do that, then by all means, I think that that's what you should do, because once you add kids to the layer, it gets even
Oh,
stickier, right? So if you can choose anything, I wouldn't necessarily say, oh, because you're 25, you don't love that man or you don't love that woman to get
okay.
married. But I
Yeah.
would say if both of you are not ready to like start a family, maybe that should be where the weight is, not necessarily to marry each other. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, yeah, I gotta say, yeah. I mean, it does. I do. I do think that that makes sense. I agree with you. I do agree 100%. Yeah, I focus on the age just because, as a man, sometimes your mind is thinking things that you don't even realize is gonna be thinking
Yeah.
different in 10 more years.
Hmm.
And the same
Hmm.
thing with the young lady. Like, it has been said. Now, I'm not gonna agree with that because I'm a man. That women mature faster than men. I'm not gonna agree with that. I think that men, we do what we do. But at 35, I mean, at 25, you're thinking one thing. At 35, you're thinking something different. 45 is different. I can't speak on that because I haven't got there, but that's why I say that. And my perspective now, I understand what a woman needs. I understand how to love. I understand how to be patient. I understand how to humble myself. And she
Hmm.
wrong, but now is not the time to call her out on her wrong. Now is the time for me to humble myself and just be like, okay, babe, let me go another way or let me handle it a different way.
Yeah.
And then there's a
Mhm.
time for me to express. At 25, at 22, that person wouldn't even understand the concept of patience that I understand it now. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
yeah, that's why I asked the question. All right, so look,
Where we
not gonna
going?
keep
Where
you
we going?
long. I got one more. I got one more question.
You don't have to rush. It's fun.
I'm not trying to take it too deep, right? But look,
Okay.
okay. So I'm gonna go light. I'm gonna go light. I'm
Okay.
gonna go light.
That's fair.
All right. So I'm gonna give you a story. I don't do counseling. I don't. I don't do counseling. I'm not gonna say
Mhm.
why, because the culture now is just the culture. But
Okay.
young man, well, it's different for young men and women, but I'm gonna flip it. So it was a young man that I was talking to, but with I'm gonna flip it. So let's just say that a young lady is talking to a guy. They have a relationship,
Okay.
right?
Hmm.
They close knit. They locked in. He don't post her on his social media.
Mm.
Um, is that something to be worried about? Is that something to on a scale of 1 to 10? How serious is that your person not posting you on social media? Is that a like I'm not gonna do zero, I'm gonna do one is like least 10 is like max. How important is it for you? to post your person in your
Yeah,
opinion?
I'm not gonna give you a number just yet. What I am going to say is I think no, let me tell you why. I think that's a heavy question, although you said it's light. That's a heavy question because social media is
I got like
one
three
of
more.
the main reasons why a lot of relationships do fail.
There you go.
Because
There you
because
go.
when you ask that question, you have to add the, you know how you had questions in school where you had part A, part B.
That's
You
right.
have to add part B because part B says you're not posting me, but who comment pictures are you liking and or commenting under? Because now then I can answer what level that is for me. If you're not posting me because you
Oh,
are still wanting to be perceived as single, then
I
that
get
is
your
a problem.
I get your point. I
Because
get your
you
point.
are, if the fire emojis drive me crazy. Like people with these fire emojis on people. What does that
No, wait,
even
wait.
mean?
Sometimes you can say something that's like a bar. So I come at the fire when you say something that's a bar, or when your post it be like the magnitude of what you posting is like you hit the nail on the head. I don't be doing a fire post on us. It's
But here's
just a
the
girl
thing.
that's working out.
But
We not posting no
some
fires.
people do. Some people do. And I'm saying that because this has come to me in a session. Like some people do. Or, you know, every time Shay Shay post, you liking pictures. Every time John posts, you liking John picture. He just posted himself with a new baseball cap and you hit like. I mean,
Yeah,
so I think when it gets to that point, I think that is an issue. But then the other layer of it is, are you not posting me because you are a private person and you want to
right,
cherish this relationship? You want this relationship to be the one thing that you can control because you can't control anything else that's going on in your life. So it's easy to love my person. I'm not saying I don't love my person out loud.
right,
I'm just saying I preserve what I expose my partner to posting them online.
right.
That's different. But if you're not posting because you're so busy entertaining other people, then that's the issue. Because now I know you're not posting me because you want to still be perceived as single. That's a problem.
You know what? I hate when you explain stuff because I want to disagree.
Uh-huh. Sorry, my bad.
But
So
no, I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. I think I think the same thing. I think you have to know your person. I
yeah.
think I think that sometimes people post or don't post for certain reasons. Like for
Mm-hmm.
me, I'm completely in a relationship, right? But I have posted my person, but I don't post really anything
Yeah.
except the things that I want to post, and that is the targets that I want to hit, the goals that I want to reach. But
Mm-hmm.
my
Mm-hmm.
relationship, if you see me out, you're gonna see that I have a person.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah.
if you're around in my circles, you know that I have a person. But I don't have to prove that I have a person. You get what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
But what my thing is, I asked the question because if the disconnect comes because sometimes the person wants to be posted but don't understand their person. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Or
Exactly.
sometimes it can be vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, you hit the nail on the head with that. You hit the nail on the head with that. I mean, to some people it matters, but then you have to know, you know, is your person a poster or is your person? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. I
Yeah.
hate that I agree with you. I'm trying to find
Listen, well,
something to disagree
ask me something that you can completely disagree with.
when it comes.
So,
I think women are, I'm not gonna say women. You know, having a person, I love my person, my spud. If she
mhm.
watching right now, I love you, spud.
Hey, Kurt, hey.
Is very difficult. But I think women are delusional, and the reason why I got a person is because she's not delusional. But when it comes to posting, I have heard so many horror stories
Mm-hmm.
about this girl needs to be posted or why you ain't posting. And it's a whole argument because it turns
Yeah.
into like, you don't love me because you don't post me. But that's not necessarily what that means. So here's the question: when is it safe to post your person, in your opinion? When is it safe? Or is it a safe, like, When
I
is it
think
safe?
it's safe to post your person whenever you feel safe to post your person. I don't think it's a timeline, right? Um Again, I think it's all about respecting the relationship, because this is what I do know. Other people won't respect your relationship if you don't.
Absolutely.
So I don't think,
Absolutely.
again, I know that people want to preserve the relationships, and so some people don't want to post. But I don't necessarily think there's a right or wrong, or a right time, wrong time. I just think you post whenever you choose, but be careful of how you are presenting yourself and your relationship when you post. Again, if you don't want to post me, I'm cool with that.
Right.
Whatever. Like, that doesn't, I'm not a social media person like that. So I personally don't care.
Right, right.
However, I also want to, I also would hope that the relationship is being respected. So even if you don't post me, I would hate to know that Shay Shay is sending you messages, or vice versa. I mean, you get what I'm saying? So
I
I
do.
don't think it's a right, I don't think it's a timeline of when you post your person. I just say, whether you're on social media or not, there should be respect in the relationship, because
Right,
unfortunately we are living in times where technology is everything.
right,
And so
right, right.
social media is becoming to be a very dangerous game in relationships.
For real though. For
And if
real though.
you are a person that's still trying to figure out if you still got it,
You
I'd rather
don't
you
need to
walk
be in a
away.
relationship.
You don't need to be in a relationship. You need to be
Yeah.
straightforward and tell that person, I love you, but I don't have the mental capacity to love you the way you need to be loved.
I
So
agree
I
with
bow
that.
out gracefully.
I gotta agree with you. I gotta
Mhm.
agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%. I think when it comes to the whole social media thing, I think that needs to be a conversation,
Mhm.
right? So like,
Mhm.
so I do a podcast, and you know, I think I want to go back to what you said though. You said people won't respect your relationship if you don't
That
respect
respect
your
your
relationship.
relationship. Yes.
You teach people how to respect you, and you teach people how to respect the things that you are connected to. I,
Absolutely.
I, I, I when I had the last time I had you on the show, I agree with everything you said, and I hate to say that, because I think
Yeah.
sometimes women be, what I mean,
Tread lightly,
I
tread lightly.
I agree with you. I agree. I agree with that. If you are a man, you should be respecting your relationship in the
Yeah.
presence of that woman, and when
And when
she's
she's
not.
not. Mhm.
And the same thing
Yeah.
for women. You should be respecting your man when he's there and when he's not. And
Yeah.
you should be, if you look, and what you said, I wholeheartedly agree on that. If
Mhm.
you in a relationship, be in a relationship. If you want to be single, be
Be
single. If
single.
you right, if you still want to flirt, if you still doing it for the clout, if you still doing it so people can like your picture and you enjoying that, you need to be single.
Be single. And
But you
and I wish you the best.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we can still be friends. But if you are in a relationship, you need to handle yourself, carry yourself in a certain way. And then
Accordingly.
I would say
Mhm.
post things. I would even go to the extent of posting things. There are certain things that I will post and certain things that I will not post.
Yeah.
Especially if I'm in a relationship. And because I'm in leadership at my church, I'm in
Mhm.
leadership. So there are
Mhm.
certain things that you should post. But with that said, people will respect the level that you respect it. So if you are a leader at your church, if you are in a relationship, if you are married, if
Yep.
you have a person, if you are whatever, people
Mhm.
will.
Mhm.
I love the way you put that because that's 100% right. That is,
Yeah.
that's 100% right. So look, I'm not gonna keep you long. I know you
Mhm.
have a family, you got a husband, you got kids and stuff. But what is your last message for the people, for the audience that is watching? I'm just gonna come back on. When are you coming back on?
Oh,
I'm gonna try to
okay.
have you on as much as I can. If I can get you on every week, I'm gonna try to
Yes.
get you on every
No.
week.
Whenever you want me on, we can go for it. It's okay. Just let me know. I got you.
I got a bunch of more loaded questions that I didn't get into tonight. But
Okay.
what is your signing off message for the audience, for the people that are watching in a relationship, in a marriage, or single?
Yes.
What is your signing off?
My signing off, since we definitely started, and maybe we can come back and pick this back up. But since we actually started with just talking about marriage and talking about relationships, What I will leave everybody with is again, relationships are hard, whether you're married or just want to stay locked down forever. But you have to go in it with the mindset of being intentional. And what I mean by that is you have to be open with your heart and with your mind to say, I will not give up on you. What I will do is learn how to love you the way you need to be loved. If you
That's
go in with
heavy.
that perspective, things will get better if they're rocky, but things will stay great if they're great. You just have to go in understanding that this is not a free for all. This is not a I pick it up when I get ready to. This is a
Right,
I love you enough to not give up on you. And because I
right.
won't give up on you, I'm just going to learn how to love you the way you need to be loved. Not the way I want to love you, but the way you need to be loved, because we both have to be emotionally safe in the relationship.
Gotta say, I
Did I
love that.
close it? Did I close it?
I hate it. I hate it so much. I hate it so much. But I agree with you. I hate that I agree with you, but I do agree with you. I would definitely say the same thing, or similar to that. I would say marriage is a hard thing, and don't
Mhm.
go into marriage thinking that it's just supposed to serve you without you serving it.
Mm.
Ultimately, the goal is for you and this person to build a bond for you and this person. The kids are gonna come, but they're gonna get grown, and you have to love your person. You're gonna
Yep.
be rich and you're gonna be poor, but you have to love your person. You're gonna get sick. You might have to
Yeah.
wipe.
Yeah.
If you can't picture yourself wiping this person's butt when they get
Yeah.
old, you
Yeah.
maybe your mind ain't there. But if you're not willing to really just be loyal like that, this is the last
Mhm.
person you're gonna
Mhm.
submit to. So yeah, I mean, I brought you on for that reason for marriage, but we're gonna talk about other topics. But I want to say that marriage is hard, and don't go into it thinking that you're not gonna just do it. But look, I want to say thank you guys for watching. I want to say thank you, Dr. McKenzie, for coming
Thank
on.
you for
I
having me.
love having you on. Love having you on. You give me a different perspective. And thank you. I know my Spoogie is watching. Thank you for watching, Spoog. That's my lady. That's my girlfriend. Want to send a big shout out to her. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to email me, my email is marcusstewart@tgmchurch.org. If you know me in the real world, I am an actual minister. So my email is marcusstewart@tgmchurch.org. If you have a question, go ahead and submit that question. This is the channel for self betterment, and I also do some beginners apologetics for the Christian faith. So where can we find you? Where can we locate you if we wanted to follow you, Miss McKenzie? Where
Yes, so I am on Instagram. It is at Dr. McKenzie.
Okay,
Very simple. My name. I am on Facebook. I'm getting better with social media. I'm going to be very honest. But if
you're
you really
a
just
tech
want to
person.
chat on a level of just finding some peace, you can always just contact me at purposelypoisedcounseling.clientsecure.me. And you can always chat with me there. You can send a message. It's where you can send a text, you can send an email, and I will gladly answer any questions you have. Or if you just want to pour out some feelings, I got all the time. I offer free consultation. So if you just need a 15 minutes to chat and get it out, don't hesitate to reach out. Purposely poised counseling.clientsecure.me.
All right, there you have it. Thank y'all for watching. I go live every Wednesday. Wednesday, most of the time, be geared toward apologetics. My Fridays be just free for all. So, guys, if y'all are on, the way that you can support this channel is just by liking the video and subscribing so you can get the notification every time I go live. Because I know you forget, like me, I got a busy schedule. I go live on Wednesdays and Fridays. I try to shoot for 7, but it may not be 7. That's why you got to subscribe so you can see when I'm going live and you can join the chat. But if you want to support this channel, you can just do that by hitting just the like button and subscribing. So with that, guys, we are going offline. Thank you so much, Dr.
Bye,
McKenzie.
guys.
Thank y'all so much for watching. I'll see y'all next week on Wednesday. We are going offline.